look back, in the benefit of hindsight, I give credit to people like President Goodluck Jonathan for not challenging the outcome of the 2015 election, even though I thought that it was flawed. I don't think that Professor Mahmoud Jega, and Professor Jega is a saint, because some of us know exactly some of the mago they did in that particular election to throw the PDP out, but that's a conversation for another day.
Now let me get your reactions with regards to the outcome of the elections. Have we actually done the right thing?
Well, democracy is about
the right boxes.
Democracy is about popular opinion. It's about popular choice. If the Nigerian people, supposing without conceding that Asiwaju Ahmed Tinubu actually won the election, it's popular choice. Supposing, even though some of us strongly doubt that he won the election, arising from what transpired in Port Harcourt, Lagos, Plateau. I monitored the election in Plateau State personally, and I don't think that the processes were fair. But I want to encourage Nigerians that it is not about, election is not do or die. It's about popular opinion. It's about the popular candidate. If he wins, if the people prefer him, fine. So it is not that you must be right all the time.
Now, in the words of James Freeman Clark, he is an American minister, theologian, and author. He once said, "A politician thinks of the next election. A statesman thinks of the next generation." Okay. Our next quote is from Simon Sinek. He is a British-born American author and inspirational speaker. He once said, "Leadership is not about the next election. It is about the next generation." I love that one. Now we'll take our last quote, and this one is from Alfonso D. Lamartine. He is a French author, poet, and statesman. He once said, "Sometimes only one person is missing and the whole world seems depopulated." Absolutely spot on. Very warm greetings and welcome to The Conversation. We're reaching you from Kaftan Television here in the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Annabel Orji, and I'm sure you're wondering what exactly led to that quote that we just took. But then, today on the show, we'll be discussing about our very own country, Nigeria. We're talking about the 2023 elections that took place, and then you still have people who feel disgruntled, those who are still going to court, and those who are asking people that accept defeat. You've lost out. So what are Nigerians saying in that regard? So my guest on the show today is Adakole Ijogi. He is an IT innovator. He's a strategic data solutions, economic equity and data inclusion. He is also, he was the special assistant political at the office of the Senate President from September 2013 to May 2015. He was also the SA to technical to Federal Ministry of Interior from 2011 to September 2013. You get to meet my guest. He is a political economist and everything you want to know about. So this is the conversation. We're going right there to get this conversation started. I will see you after this time out. Join us again. Welcome back. If you just joined us, this is The Conversation. We are reaching you from Kaftan Television here in the nation's capital, Abuja. Now we'll go straight to our conversation for today. And our guest on the show today is Adakole Ijogi. He is a PDP member. It's great to have you on the show today, sir.
Thank you for having me. More like a political economist.
Oh, political economist. I thought you always like to be referred to as
of course, I'm
a diehard PDP member.
Not diehard, maybe irredentist.
Irredentist, yes, that's the word. Yeah. All right, good to have you on the show today, sir.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so now let's start with the elections that was held across the country a few weeks ago, and then even though some people have moved on and then they are looking forward to the transition come May 29th, but then some other persons have decided that no, they're not taking all that happened with levity. So let's start with that. What are your thoughts in all that happened during the elections?
Well, if I were to comment on all that happened from the 25th of February up until the governorship elections in March, I think it would take me like 30 minutes. But let me just put my thoughts quickly and just wrap it up in summaries. I think that leading up towards the election, the electoral empire, as INEC, did a good job by trying to educate and encourage Nigeria to reduce voter apathy, for Nigerians to trust the system because of the kind of technologies that they had introduced, the BVAS machine, the accreditation processes, the uploading of results real time at the polling units, which got Nigerians excited. And hitherto before that, if you check the demography of people that, the 12 million people that got on the register, the voter register, you see that most of them were young people who had never probably voted before. So the enthusiasm and the excitement was high prior to the presidential elections that happened on the 25th of February. But unfortunately, the presidential election didn't go as planned. You could see that there were skirmishes of violence. There even suspicion of compromising the election by the electoral empire. The presidential election results were not uploaded till 36 hours after that is a day and a half. Even when we had those manual coalition arrangements, results start trickling in 12 hours after voting has closed. But unfortunately, this is what we found ourselves with the supposed technology that we had introduced into the process. You now had a stage that there's suspicion. When you create doubt, the problem, the issue around electoral system is that the integrity of the process is as essential as the outcome. So when the processes are riddled with secrecy or cloak and daggered, you now have the outcome being queried or being suspicious. I mean, you had the National Assembly election as the Senate and House of Reps being uploaded. The elections were held on the same day, the presidential election and the National Assembly election. One got uploaded from the polling unit, the other didn't. And then there have been skirmishes here and there and suspicions back and forth. But I'm happy that I am not a lawyer, so I'm a citizen, which is the best office or the highest office in the land, so I can comment on these issues. I don't think where lawyers say it is sub judice, you can't comment, because I think that they're trying to box all of us into one block, and I disagree. I strongly disagree with lawyers. As a citizen, I have a right to my opinion. I can comment my thinking. I can add my voice to national development and growth. So I will say that the election, especially the presidential election, was a little bit compromised. Hence, all you see the vagaries of lawsuits, of tribunal, of bickering, and we know we have had a history of election disagreements in this country because we have not gotten the electoral processes right. And then when you come to the governorship election, the same thing happened. I mean, if you see how governors organize local government elections by state INEC, you can predict what the governors can do when they came to their own elections. So I think that moving forward, we should not forget that while the electoral umpire, INEC, is trying to get its processes right, we know that some INEC, the INEC former rec in Akwa Ibom is facing jail term and all that. So it's not as if these professors are angels. They are people that live amongst us. These professors and these returning officers, look at what the rec in Adamawa. So what we're saying is that if politicians like myself and others do not compromise these people, the electoral empires, I probably think that the outcome might be different.
Okay.
I think so. I think that it is us politicians that compromise the process. The issue around vote buying. That's one, they sell the bulk, put the bulk on the politician. I would rather not say vote buying, I would say vote selling.
Okay.
Because to trade the commodity is the vote. There must be a buyer and a what? A seller. So when you say vote buying, you're putting it at the politician who is acquiring it. But how about the person giving it? So I think that is a two-way street.
Okay.
That moving forward, politicians must learn that democracy without legitimacy is autocracy. To get legitimacy, power must be derived from the ballot box and for popular choice or popular opinion. And I think that it shouldn't be win at all costs, because this is 2023. Annabel, in the next 2.5 years, we'll be talking about political party primaries.
Sure.
So why do you want to kill yourself? Just allow the process to flow. If you don't win this time, you win the other time, the next time. And I think that the electoral umpire needs to clean up its act. INEC did woefully bad in these 2023 elections.
But then you have some people say that they actually did very good compared to other elections.
Like which election? The one conducted by Maurice Iwu? I don't get it. I mean, the statistics are there. Figures don't lie. I'm an economist, so I look at the statistics. There are more election petition tribunals arising from the 2023 elections than any other election in our nation's history since 1999.
I have heard some people say that after all, in other elections, you have people reeling out numbers, tell you that there are 12 million voters and all. But this one, because of the beavers, we were able to peg the numbers of voters.
Yes, I agree, because you cannot change the number. You cannot bring ghosts onto the register or put them on the ballot. They have to be physically present for the beavers machine to capture them. But then election results were manipulated at the coalition center, from World Coalition Center, local government coalition center, state coalition center. The results were manipulated. They were changed, they were written. So the fact that the volume drops doesn't mean, I mean, even if you check, if this was the best election, what is the voter turnout? The voter turnout in this particular election is less than 30%. It's worse than in our history. It's less than 30%. What's on the register is about what? 92 million, right? How many people voted? Put the total number. Asiwaju, 8 point something. Atiku, Asiwaju 9 point something. Atiku 8 point something. What do you call it? Peter Obi 6 point something. Add the total figures up. So what we're saying is that they need to do more with regards to. First, I think that the 10th National Assembly should take a look at the Electoral Act, in amending the Electoral Act to give us full electronic voting. And I think that these professors that rig election and returning officers there should be more stringent punishment for them. Stringent punishment for them. There should be jail terms for them. And I think that it should be full electronic voting, like I said. And then lastly, I think that with regards to voter apathy, because the young Nigerians, if you put those that are on the register between the ages of 18 and 50, they constitute over 64% of the total number of people on the register. If you notice in the governorship election, they were playing football on the streets. Because if my votes don't count, then why am I doing this? There's no point of me voting. So we need an INEC with a new face that will assure the people again to come out, and also put certain parameters in place to say you cannot rig this election. And then to get full electronic system is not rocket science. The bimodal machine, you can vote on it and it can upload automatically and it can count automatically. They should also improve the processes of collation. They should design a template, a software, where as the votes are being logged in, it is being totaled and uploaded instantly.
Okay.
Yes, so the coalition, so you eliminate that unnecessary coalition that you have in the world coalition, state, local government coalition, the places where they rig the whole election. So I think we should stop all that, this thing, and move forward.
So do you think that those that are actually going to court and those that are protesting, do they have good reason to scream?
We are in a democracy, of course. When you feel aggrieved, you should take legal means to address the issues. The election cycle in Nigeria, unfortunately, concludes at the judiciary. Unfortunately, the judiciary determines who gets what or who is being elected. Unfortunately, that's why when I look back, in the benefit of hindsight, I give credit to people like President Goodluck Jonathan for not challenging the outcome of the 2015 election, even though I thought that it was flawed. I don't think that Professor Mahmoud Jega and Professor Jega is a saint, because some of us know exactly some of the mago that they did in that particular election to throw the PDP out. But that's a conversation for another day.
All right, now, sir, I recall your statement before the election with regards to who will emerge as the Nigeria's next CEO, where you said, and I will quote, it says, you said, Middle Belt Forum, where you hold a key position and has been asked to vote for Peter Obi during the presidential elections, and it's very unlikely that that the people from that region will vote, unlikely, for the PDP candidate, and very unlikely that the PDP candidate will make the statutory 25%. Now, did your people, or did you actually envisage the outcome of this election that it would actually go to Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu?
Well, the election outcomes are still being contested. I strongly disagree with some of the results that they called. Like, for instance, I have it, I was in the, what do you call it, situation room. The results from Plateau were highly doctored. The Labour Party and Peter Obi got close to 1.2 million votes, but what was declared was less than 600,000. The same thing goes for Benue. Labour Party got close to almost 47 of the total vote cast based on what we monitored in the situation room, that is from our agents on grounds where we're getting the results. But that's not what was declared. The same thing happened again in Lagos State. I mean, you can imagine the Lagos one. So that election is still being contested. But I can tell you this, that the logic behind the Middle Belt Forum and Middle Belt leaders agreeing to support the candidate of the Labour Party, Mr. Peter Obi, was because you have to be a Nigerian first before you belong to a political party. And
Okay.
Nigeria is in dire straits. You have a situation where bandits are killing our people, killing and kidnapping our people. You have this Fulani headsmen killing and occupying our land in the Middle Belt. The economy has gone to bits. Nigeria's the value of the currency has, in fact, I don't know, as an economist, let me even put it out there, that this current administration of Muhammadu Buhari has created different levels of economic contradictions. That Nigeria has the largest economy in Africa, yet the Nigerian naira is not in the top 10 currency in Africa. The naira has lost over 302% of its value since they came in 2015. The Nigerian GDP, that is GDP size, total value of goods and goods and services produced in economy within a particular area, that's GDP. Nigeria has lost over 188 billion of its GDP size. That was 560 billion US dollars as at the time that President Muhammadu Buhari and the APC came in 2015. The level of insecurity has more than doubled. I can go on and on. This government has thrown this economy into 2 recessions. I can go on and on. They have depleted the Nigerian economy has been heavily indebted. Look at our debt profile. Our debt profile shows that each Nigerian, as at November of 2022, owes from the debt 197,000 naira. That is what you are owing. That is the Nigerians that can pay, who are able to work. We have 118 million Nigerians who are willing and able to work. But out of that, you have 40% of that, according to PricewaterhouseCoopers, that released the figures a couple of days ago. They put it at 41%. The embassy will come out with theirs this week. 41%. Do you know what 41% is? That's more than the population of Ghana. Now, we are in all these issues. You are talking about party politics? No. And then we in the Middle Belt, we believe in equity, fairness, and justice. We are thinking that power should shift to the south. After the 8 years of Muhammadu Buhari, who is a Fulani from Katsina in northern Nigeria, it should rotate to the south. And then the south will now decide. So the Middle Belt leaders looked at all the candidates from the south and preferred Peter Obi of the Labour Party for equity, fairness, and justice. And then now galvanized our people to you can see Senator Ireti even won in FCT, which is a Middle Belt place. Peter Obi won in Nasarawa, won in Plateau, won in Taraba. I mean, in Atiku's home state, Peter Obi got 38% of the total votes cast. Atiku could only make 41%. Then Asiwaju took the remaining. So what I'm saying is that we were right. We were right. The Middle Belt leadership, which I am part of, were right in our assessment, saying that it's about equity, fairness, and justice.
So since you say that we are Nigerians first before we start playing party politics,
yes.
I'm going to ask you a very personal question since the elections are over, so we can have this conversation. Which candidate did you vote for during the elections?
Even before the election, the interview that I'm making reference to, that was on Channel 7, even before that, I didn't hide my hand. I voted for Governor Peter Obi, former Governor Peter Obi of Anambra State, the Labour Party.
Even being a card-carrying member of the PDP, isn't that anti-party?
It is not about anti-party. If you are talking about anti-party, the presidential candidate of the PDP who left the PDP and joined APC in 2015 to defeat a sitting PDP government, wasn't that anti-party? Didn't the PDP give him the ticket in 2019? Didn't the PDP give him our ticket in 2023? No, please. Let's face the real issues.
But if there are things like ideology, I believe in my party's ideology, I have my personal ideology and then the party ideology, should I be thinking of what the other person did and then I should do the same?
No. See, all politics is different. Now, I want Nigerians to listen to this. That a political party in Nigerian democracy today, a political party is only a platform to get political power. I repeat, a political party in the politics structure of Nigeria today, a political party is only a platform to get political power, and political power is to be used for the benefit of the people. Nigerian democracy, 23 years, 24 years since the Fourth Republic. It is evolving. Do you know how long it took Americans to get black people on the ballot? Black people started voting in America only in 1963. Do you know when they started the first democracy? 1776. You don't expect it to have miracles. People are expecting the super egos not to be flawed when every other sector of the economy is going down. Values is what progress society. Nigerians must begin to accept that our value system is evolving over time. So it's not about anti-party. It is about, if you say it is about anti-party, then I'll ask the same question, in rhetorics, that if it is anti-party, if it's an anti-party, Asiwaju Ahmed Tinubu is the only one that has not cross-carpeted amongst all the other politicians, including the Buhari to has changed party. Atiku, severally. The PDP national chairman, Yoche, severally. You want me to still go in? I think from the top of my head, it's only Asiwaju and Yeso Winke that I know Yeso Winke has stuck to the PDP since 1999 when he became chairman of Obiakpo local government. He has been in PDP.
So it's okay to actually stay in a party and then disagree with what the party or the route the party is going through?
See what Wike did.
That's why I'm saying.
See what Wike did, Governor Wike did in 2023. He supported Asiwaju. Because there's certain internal mechanism within the party. If you don't follow your own laid down rules and regulation, why won't you get rebellion? There is rotation and zoning in the PDP constitution. But the national leadership of the party, led by Senator Yoche, refused to obey that provision in the constitution. They didn't. That's why some of us had to, think differently.
All right, so I heard you say, and quote, from the four major presidential candidates, Peter Obi stands out head and shoulders amongst other candidates, and your people understands this, so they are ready to hold you accountable. And then you further stated that this 2023 elections, Nigeria is at their strict, and we cannot afford not to get it right or make same mistakes that we made in the past. So now let me get your reactions with regards to the outcome of the elections. Have we actually done the right thing?
Well, democracy is about
the right boxes.
Democracy is about popular opinion. It's about popular choice. If the Nigerian people, supposing without conceding that Asiwaju Ahmed Tinubu actually won the election, it's popular choice. Supposing, even though some of us strongly doubt that he won the election, arising from what transpired in Port Harcourt, Lagos, Plateau. I monitored the election in Plateau State personally, and I don't think that the processes were fair. But I want to encourage Nigerians that it is not about, election is not do or die. It's about popular opinion. It's about the popular candidate. If he wins, if the people prefer him, fine. So it is not that you must be right all the time. You don't have to be right all the time. PDP won Plateau State, even though Plateau State and Simon Lalong were APC. Simon Lalong lost his senatorial district to my friend Napo in the senatorial election in Plateau South. Otom lost his own elections too, the senatorial election. Darius lost his own in Taraba. So it is about the popular opinion. It's about the choice of the people. It's not something that it is your right. It's not, no. You don't do that in a democracy. Yeah, exactly. So
if President Muhammadu Buhari and the Minister of Communication, Lai Mohammed, says that those who feel aggrieved, or they're throwing fireworks over the elections and say that those who feel aggrieved should accept defeat, that they lost woefully due to overconfidence and complacency, do you agree?
And that they should go to court.
I guess that's the right word. Go to court.
I wanted to speak Hausa to you, but let me, for the sake of our English viewers, let me not speak Hausa. They say when you see a madman saying that, a blind man said that he should play a game of throwing stone, know that he's stepping on a stone. You cannot attribute the losses. I think it's bad politics, it's bad rhetoric, unfortunately, coming from the presidency. There's something they call, I must say, they say this boring kunya. That's what some Hausa people call it. I think that they should rather think of ways to unify Nigerians and to make statements that are not inflammatory. That they were overconfident, they were this, and they were making example that Asiwaju lost in Lagos, President Muhammadu Buhari lost in Katsina, therefore the process is free and fair. Who do you think you're talking to? You're trying to be clever by half. The thing is what it is. Things have happened during the election, after the election. The processes are being, trying to sort out itself. And for me, my one hope and prayer is that it does not degenerate into violence. Because at the end of the day, violence will lead into an unstable polity. I think that Nigerians should embrace peace. Even if the judiciary is corrupt, we should go there and populate the judiciary and ensure that the right thing is done.
All right.
If the judiciary is compromised, we should not go into a place where we take the other option of disrupting peace and stability within the society.
All right, then let's go on a quick break, and when we return, we'll continue this conversation with Adakole Ijogi. I'll see you after this time. Join us again.
Well, while I appreciate Uncle Lai for his contributions to Nigerian democracy and some of the things that he said and did while in opposition, those of us who are upcoming on replacement generation leaders have no respect for Lai Mohammed because of these kind of comments. And I'll put it out there, my generation, I'm in my 50s, and I'll tell you that we have utterly no respect for Lai Mohammed because of these kind of comments. These are the kind of comments that they were making in opposition before 2015. And he's still acting like he's in opposition in 2023. What is your business? What happened with the opposition party? You are the Minister for Information and Communication. You need to inform Nigerians about the business of government, the working of government. Why are you involving yourself in dirty downplaying politics that the opposition is so losers? I just think the APC has a spokesperson. The presidential campaign of the APC has spokespeople. So what is your business, Uncle Lai? In your 70s, you're almost 80 years old. You can't show that level of decorum and patriotism? I think it's unfortunate. I think it's very unfortunate. The North Central has been Senate president. The Northeast has been Senate president. So I think you should go to the South-South. But because of balancing the Igbo question, I think the speakership too should go to the Southeast. That's my own opinion as a citizen. The speaker to go to the Southeast, the Senate president to go to the South-South, to balance what they did at the top as Muslim ticket. To balance it out, you have to put Christian here in the National Assembly. But if they're insensitive about it and they think they can carry it, fine, we'll meet them at the polls again in 2027.
Welcome back. If you just joined us, this is The Conversation. We're reaching you from Kaftan Television here in the nation's capital, Abuja. If you just joined us, you've actually missed out on a whole lot, but then you can still join in the conversations. Our guest on the show today is Adakole Ijogi. He is a political economist. All right, before we went on that break, we've actually talked about quite a lot of things, but then let's still talk about what Lai Mohammed said. He said, I quote, President Buhari deserved nothing but accolades for delivering undoubtedly the best election in Nigeria's history, other than that the tempestuous but predictable reaction to the president's comment by the opposition party has shown them for what they are: shameless, sore losers. What are your reactions to all of this statement?
Well, while I appreciate Uncle Lai for his contributions to Nigerian democracy and some of the things that he said and did while in opposition, those of us who are upcoming on replacement generation leaders have no respect for Lai Mohammed because of these kind of comments. And I'll put it out there, my generation, I'm in my 50s, and I'll tell you that we have utterly no respect for Lai Mohammed because of these kind of comments. These are the kind of comments that they were making in opposition before 2015. And he's still acting like he's in opposition in 2023. What is your business? What happened with the opposition party? You are the Minister for Information and Communication. You need to inform Nigerians about the business of government, the working of government. Why are you involving yourself in dirty down playing politics that the opposition is so losers? I just think the APC has a spokesperson. The presidential campaign of the APC has spokespeople. So what is your business, Uncle Lai? In your 70s, you're almost 80 years old. You can't show that level of decorum and patriotism? I think it's unfortunate. I think it's very unfortunate.
All right, now let's talk about the third and fourth highest offices of the country. That's the office of the Senate President and the Speaker of the House of Representatives. With regards to the zoning principles, all that have been going on, and then we got the reports of, with regards to rumors of vote buying, or rather vote trading. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think the 10th National Assembly has it cut out for them because, especially in the House of Reps, if you know the history of the House of Reps, since the time of Dogara, they have been rebellious. The Senate was rebellious at the time of Senator Bukola Saraki. When the party zones a thing a particular way, the senators, do some horse trading and elected one of them as first amongst equals. I think that with regards to zoning and the leadership of the 10th National Assembly, I think that the APC should tread carefully. Because first and foremost, the APC sold to Nigerians a Muslim ticket. Which of course, for me, I don't think those are the issues, but just for the sake of Nigerian polity thing, Muslim ticket thing. Secondly, the APC did not focus on equity, fairness, and justice with regards to selection of its presidential candidate. Because if it's about equity, fairness, and justice, the candidate from either the South or Southeast should have emerged. Because Olusegun Obasanjo was president of this country from 1999 to 2007. It doesn't make for good politics of equity, fairness, and justice for another person from Southwest extraction to be president. So as regards the 10th National Assembly, I think that they should be fair in balancing. Because those things you think they are unnecessary, they are not. We're not as advanced, we're not an advanced democracy as you think. Those little nuances create the decision-making process. Those are the little things that create that dissatisfaction, that feeling of marginalization. And then when you now have that spark, you now have that violence. Just somebody says that the Tutsis are cockroaches. Then the whole Rwanda burnt. Because there are things bubbling under the surface. So I think that they should be very careful with regards to who they put forward as Senate President, Deputy Senate President, Speaker, and Deputy Speaker.
So who do you actually think that he should be zoned to? The prestigious position. Where do you think he should be zoned to?
I am not in the National Assembly. So I don't have an opinion on that. Whoever emerges. But I think as a party, if it was my party, if it was the PDP that was in government, I would have said, and the zoning of the presidency and the vice presidency were like this. And I said, okay, let's think south for both positions.
For both positions?
Both positions. Senate President and Speaker, let's push it south. But my party won't have made that fundamental error of putting a Muslim ticket at the top.
So those who are screaming Emilio Con now, so after the presidential Emilio Con saying that it is their turn to become the next Senate President, do they have a good reason to make that call?
The precedence has been set. So anybody can shout Emilio Con. Of course. But if you ask me sincerely, without politics, I think that the Senate presidency should go to the South-South. The Southeast has had it a couple of times. The Southwest has had it very in the past, in the, I think 1979, sorry. The North Central has been Senate president. The Northeast has been Senate president. So I think you should go to the South-South. But because of balancing the Igbo question, I think the speakership too should go to the Southeast. That's my own opinion as a citizen. The speaker to go to the Southeast, the Senate president to go to the South-South, to balance what they did at the top as Muslim ticket. To balance it out, you have to put Christian here in the National Assembly. But if they're insensitive about it and they think they can carry it, fine, we'll meet them at the polls again in 2027.
All right, let's divert a little bit and talk about economics or Nigeria's economy. And
Correct. Now you're talking.
Let's talk about we got that recent report saying that Nigeria's unemployment rate is likely going to hit 40%. So now, in that regard, what are your thoughts? Even looking at the SDG goals, the 17 goals, goal 1 that talks about no poverty, and then talk about the unemployment. Do you actually think that in 2030, we're just less than 10 years to 2030, are we ever going to hit that mark?
Which mark?
No poverty, unemployment rate being
no. I thought 2030. I thought you were saying 2030. Nigeria will hit the population of, 250 million people.
No, I'm talking about it.
No, I'm just saying.
Okay.
As a backdrop. And let me tweak your question slightly, because I believe, like I told you, I'm a citizen first before anything. All those MDGs, World Bank, IMF, I have serious issues with them. Let me say, what will be in the front table, should be in the front table of the incoming administration of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, supposing he perfects his presidency, looking at unemployment as at 40%. I think that in managing the economy, the incoming government should look at 3 things. Quick intervention. Those quick interventions are called the sectors,
Okay.
which includes unemployment, quick intervention, governance and polity stability, and long-term planning. Now, in quick intervention, I think that the administration should focus on 3 immediate things. 1, insecurity. 2, value of the currency. 3, production of food. These 3 things is something that they can do instantly between June. They come in at May 29th, between June and December. The reason I will start with the value of the currency. Annabel, the thing that I wonder why our economy managers are not looking at, and it drives me crazy, is the value of the naira. All this suffering, hardship, unemployment, poverty indices, human development indices is as a result of mismanagement of the value of the currency. Fuel subsidy, value of the currency. Nigeria is heavily dependent on imports. The economy is highly dollarized. Even some of your children's school fees in this Abuja and in Lagos are paid in dollars. Are you aware? In Nigeria, land, office space, they say 3 square meters, some of them denominated in dollars. The Nigerian economy is highly dollarized. And because we're a non-producing economy, we are exposed to the vagaries and the shifts and the shocks that you have in the international market. So when you do that comparison, we economists talk about purchasing power parity, and I disagree with those models of currency valuation. But that's a conversation for another day. But I'm saying that we should pay more at this administration. The first thing it should do, it should pay attention to the value of the currency. They're talking about removing a fuel subsidy right now. Why are they going to remove it? When the administration came in, Nigerians have selective amnesia, I'm sorry to say. When this administration came in 2015, do you know how much the price of petrol price of pump price of fuel was? It was 65 naira. Do you know how much it is now? 195 naira. So they have added, remove 65, 0, 3, 1, 130 naira. What is that 130 naira? Value of the currency.
Okay.
They haven't removed subsidy, so they claim. They called it, they are trying to be clever by half. They called it, what do they call it? They don't call it subsidy, they call it, anyway, I will remember that's the name that they call it. They don't call it subsidy, this administration. What we economists are saying is that you can improve agriculture, improve healthcare, grow food production. If your value of the currency keeps going down, your food basket keeps reducing, the person still goes poorer. So keep the value of the currency constant. If you keep the value of the currency, it was at 197 when they came into the dollar. Do you know how much it is? CBN rate. Not even black market, CBN rate. Right now, the CBN sells it for 585. That is why you can't fly to Lagos now. You have to pay more, come around 100,000 naira. Everything is in increase. DSTV is increasing their rates.
Has increased already.
Okay, they have increased it. It is not rocket science. It is because the naira is losing. But I put it to you. You can quote me anywhere, Annabel. This CBN governor is the worst CBN governor ever that has managed the Nigerian, the Central Bank of Nigeria. Emefiele is the worst. And I can put it to you that looking at economic indices since 1960, the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari from 2015 to 2023 is the worst administration that has ruled this country. Economic indices, this is not Adakole Ijogi's figures. Do you know that from 2015 to 2023, the economy has never grown above 3%? Averagely, this administration will leave the highest they have grown. I think it's about that 2.9%. And we have a growth rate of 3%. So if you remove growth rate, how much is there? That is population growth rate. So what we are saying here is simple, that they have to intervene in the value of the currency. How can you do that? Stop, remove. Do we have time? Remove the multiple exchange rates, increase our balance sheet, focus on production. This thing that Peter Obi is saying is not a campaign thing, that production, from consumption to production. It's not a campaign thing. It's what any reasonable leader will do. And then food production. Nigerians are hungry. You have this 40% unemployment you are talking about. Do you know what the size of that is? The size of that 40, Nigeria has 180 million people who are willing and able to work. If you move 40% of that's close to, what do you say, 46 million people? That's more than the population of Ghana or even Saudi Arabia. Unemployed. And you expect the economy to thrive? No. People are hungry. People are willing and able to work. This administration, the incoming administration, must focus on, this is not autopilot that Buhari was doing. If you do autopilot, this country is going to burn. Oh, so after that, you go to the solid ones: rule of law, governance, stabilizing of the polity. People are feeling aggrieved that they stole their mandates. Pacify them, form a government of inclusion, open the space for young people, invest in ICT, invest in access to capital. And this thing that economists say that you stimulate the economy, this is not the time to stimulate the economy. The government must form different levels of partnerships, government to government partnerships, that is federal to state government, federal government to local government. Government must go into agriculture, food production, get state governments to bring out land, cluster farmers into cooperative societies, give them money and seedlings, provide tractors. We must say, in here we're going to farm rice, here cassava, here guinea corn, here millet, here. We must intervene.
Are you talking about the kind of money that they gave as the Uncle Boros program?
Those are political programs. Even we in the PDP did it. We did, what's that one that? Shopee.
You win.
You win. I said, those are, do you know, we're talking about 46, do you know the sound of 46 million people? 46 million people unemployed.
So in other words, you're saying that it doesn't make economic sense to have social investment programs like the trader money, the market money, the
conditional cash transfers,
and even the 5,000 naira that has been marked for to give for palliative to the vulnerable people.
I think it's just bad thinking. I think it's bad economic thinking. You see, the problem that we have, when you have problem with the economy, you must produce. Production must back value. The problem with the Nigerian economy is that you have so much money. The government is printing money, ways and means. There is no production to back it. You can do conditional cash transfer. I am not against social investments, but that is not teaching them how to fish. You must teach people how to fish. It is not sustainable. That's what I'm saying. We must begin to learn. Sorry about the value of the currency. We must begin to move to a resources-backed economy like gold, like oil. This fiat money that the Americans started in 1973 is what is causing, fiat is an Italian word, Italian word for let it be so. No, before 1973, all currencies were backed by gold. How come Nigeria has so much gold reserves, so much oil reserves, so much gas reserves, so much bitumen, so much that this one that they found that lithium that they used to produce batteries and all of that. We have all these reserves, and yet the Nigerian naira is not in the top 10 currency in Africa. Yet Nigeria has the biggest economy in Africa. Does that make any sense to you?
But then if you have people saying that we need to move away from fossil fuel because a lot of people are embracing renewable energy because we might not have anything to sell in the global market in the next coming years, are you still saying that we should still talk about the oil sector?
It is the American propaganda. The world is not going to live fossil fuel in the next 50 years. Take it from me. It's American propaganda because they don't have enough oil. So they're thinking about ways and means of how to be dependent on Saudi Arabia, Iran, and Nigeria. It's a propaganda. Everything runs on fossil fuel. Whether it's coal, whether it's oil. They have increased their own oil production. What are they talking about? Yes, it is good to depend on very sustainable, the non-carbon arrangements. But it's propaganda, please. Let us face the real things. If I want, one of the things I will propose the incoming administration, if you look at Saudi Arabia produces over 10 million barrels per day. Nigeria barely hits its quota. It should be increased to 3 million barrels per day.
Correct.
Where are they going to get money to build bridges, to build roads, to fund infrastructure? Where are they going to get all these things from? Government must involve itself in business. This idea of no.
Government has no business doing business.
It is the wrongest political and economic talk I've ever heard. Where do you think government will have money to build infrastructure, hospital, roads, and all this? Where do you think government will get money from? Taxes? Nigerians don't pay tax. How many Nigerians are banked? No. Please. Each economy should be managed with their own peculiar idiosyncrasies. I think that serious people should come together and earmark how we're going to raise money for government, how government is going to fund infrastructure, how we're going to do debt restructuring. Nigeria is owing over 77 trillion naira. People should get together, eggheads, and just think out how to do this thing. How are we going to reflate local economies as possible? Have you been to your village recently? My village is in Utonko in Benue State. The amount of desperation and hunger in such places. Do you know an injection of just 20 million naira monthly in that economy? Do you know what to do to that economy? And these are the kind of conversations that we're having. Not asking me about Lai Mohammed.
Thank you so much, Adakole Ijogi. It's always a pleasure having these conversations. Thank you so much for having this conversation with me.
Thank you. Anytime.
All right, viewers, that's where we end this conversation for today. We have been chatting with Adakole Ijogi, and he's a political economist, and it's been a wonderful time here on The Conversation. How time flies when you're discussing serious matters that concern our very own country, Nigeria. I'll see you again next time. Keep watching The Conversation because you never know what my next topic will be all about and who my next guest will be. Till I come your way again from the nation's capital, Abuja, I am Annabel Orji. God bless you and yours, and God bless Nigeria.